All right, I'm going live. I'm about to do a film study, full video. I can't really see my screen, so if you leave comments, I'm not gonna be able to see it. I'm just gonna be talking film the whole time. And this replay is gonna be up on YouTube, I think. So let's go. And this is just all off the top of my head, whatever I see. Now, the first thing that already bugs me, it's the first possession of the game, right? Kentucky comes down and they run this, whatever they're running. They run some set. Right? Throw it to the big up top, down screen handoff, kind of gets blown up, right? And then this is what it ends up with: standing, standing, standing. There's too much standing. Now notice, like, and the people I'm talking about is weak side, right? They tried their best over there to move, but it didn't formulate too much. But him just when I see people just do this and they stand out here and they ask for the ball and it goes away from them, nothing happens, and they still stand out here and they ask for the ball. Like that is bad offensive habits, especially if you're going to be on if you want to be on a professional level. And so one of the things I always point out is if it's been 2 seconds and the ball's not coming your way, you can cut or you could just set a screen. Like those two things have never failed in the history of basketball. And you know, also in this play right here, right, baseline drive. What goes along with it is an opposite wing cut. I'm gonna show you why. He gets here. None of them are looking at him. So he can sneak in somewhere down there, right? And he might not be in the best position to pass, but even when he pivots out, if he pivots out, he can still at least pass to his big man, or he can be like sitting here at the elbow area and get the ball there. But it's just bad habits up front, and it ends up in a poor shot, honestly. So let's see what Zag's got coming down. Hopefully my head's not in the way of this thing. I have no idea. I just missed that entire possession. So I mean that's an easy read, right? He comes off, he gets this screen. Defender goes under. Defender goes under. My coach used to say if they go under, make them pay, and that's what he did. Don't let anybody go under a screen on you. So now this is what I like, right? Point guard gets the ball, one dribble, pass. And I think every point guard should pass it within a foot of the half court line. So either like you're behind it or you're a foot in front of it. You should have already given up the ball unless you're gonna get like a ball screen from, high up. I think giving up the ball early is the best because then you can let your teammates try to go one on one. Let them do whatever they're gonna do. But at some point, either they're gonna score or they're gonna get stuck and they need to pass to somebody. And that somebody can be you. So you don't want to be the one stuck with the ball. And now another thing, right? I want to point out here. The guy gets it in the corner, goes against the grain perfectly. Bam. But now look at his first dribble took him nowhere, right? Professional level, that one dribble is almost a dunk, especially if the help side looks like this. Like even if he comes over too hard, he's gonna be streaking down the middle, drop off, or he has to help too hard, he can just throw it over there, right? And so the guy that drove, he took one dribble and really didn't. He made it half a foot across the 3 point line when realistically he should be near the block with one dribble, especially if you beat somebody so clear. Like there's no reason he shouldn't be at the basket. And so I think what happens at this high of level, people really yeah, this is Kentucky and Gonzaga, by the way. This is the one they played earlier. People really get in a habit of just doing robotic movements. Because when you're in practice, right, you do 5-on-0, couple drive-ins, kickouts, cuts, like stuff like that. So you're so used to that robotic movement that you just forget to read the game. And like, there's no reason he shouldn't have scored this basket. Like, even though he's rushing for help, if he takes a more solid angle, he gets to the basket, no problem. And then he makes this kick, which that's got to be a shot. That this kickback right here, that absolutely has to be shot. So now look how he's catching it, right? He's not even shot ready. So I'm 2 minutes into film and I've pointed out a mind blowing amount of details that the top nations college basketball programs Just don't do it. It's mind blowing to me. Like sometimes when I watch these games and I'm like, there's no way this is a top 10 team in the country and they do stuff like this. But this just lets you know that it's like it's a universal thing. It's not like bad basketball players make these mistakes. Great basketball players make these mistakes all the time. And if I did NBA film, I would show you the same things, right? So he's catching the ball nowhere near shot ready. And that's why he didn't put that shot up. And then he passes it back to a double teamed teammate who didn't take advantage of the first drive, but then there's two people near him and he shoots this and it gets blocked. So it's like it's frustrating to watch as a basketball mind sometimes, you know? But hey, it is what it is. So let me fast forward through some of the and I can go over a screen detail real quick. If you're ever receiving a screen, you have to rub shoulders or I say shoulder to hip, depending on if you're coming off shot ready, which you should in most situations. Situations. And he allows too much space for the defender, and he really just gets bullied out of it. To be quite honest, you got to push and you got to fight for that so you can make use of that screen, But they still get it in. But then if you do that screen right, maybe you get a shot instead of just least common denominator of getting it in. He did hook him right there. It's an old veteran move. I'm convinced John Calipari um, is a mob boss. Can't tell me otherwise. So there's another one, right? Made him pay again. Hold on. Let me go back. So now this works off ball too, right? They go under, make him pay. His defender's way under. Instead of going more towards the ball, he just kind of flares out, gives himself a ton of space, and now he has to fight around the very solid screen, and he catches the ball shot ready. Easy money. I think you should be shot ready at all times in every scenario, always. You can't really lose, but hopefully you can shoot. So here's the same read, right? Number one gets this down screen down here, and he doesn't read it right. His defender goes under, so he should just straight line out. But he keeps going up, and that's kind of a poor screen, especially a down screen. You shouldn't really be at that angle. You should more of a um, feet pointed towards the baseline angle, just so you can make good contact. And he just gets right through super easy. And now I also want to point this out, right? So we got Shimwe. He's open here, right? And so I think as a point guard, you got to recognize all things that are happening. So with your peripheral vision, you should be able to see this screen and see that, right? And he should be able to see that. And so he should come up, getting the help defender out of the way. He should come up, getting his help defender out of the way. Keep letting him front, throw it over the top. I mean, that's an easy read in my mind. Now here, right? Same deal. He's still trying to throw it over. Now notice opposite side helps. If your man helps opposite, he shouldn't give up on it so easy. So if you can see his face, which I don't know if you can see his face right there, he's looking top of the key already. But what he should do is flash because his defender helps, right? But he gave up on it way too easy. So now look at this open space. If he flashes, he can either make that shot or he has to play him. He can continue to let him front and play topside. Then he just dumps it over the top. And so um, these are just things that happen on a every other possession basis that causes losses. For teams that shouldn't be losing, honestly. Like these teams recruit too much talent and the coaching is too good for them to be, not in the final fours and all that stuff on a very, very consistent basis. Now, that's easy to say that, right? But it's super hard to win the final four. Like it's super hard to make it there. It's one game. You might fluke up. The other team hits 19 threes and you lost. But it's things like this that usually um, win or lose you the game over the course of time. And so, yeah, great shot. Let's see what we got here. So again, they give up on the plays too easy. And I think attacking one on one is like either I think it's a last ditch effort type thing. I don't think anybody should rely on it. Like you shouldn't get the ball usually, especially on a college level, unless you're like really like that, which there hasn't been. Like Banchero was probably the last guy to come out who could really like, all right, 1-on-1. Like I don't need to wait for nothing. I'm about to take it right now. But those guys are getting more rare and rare as time goes on. So now he looks over to the left for a split second because that down screen is gonna happen. So he's looking. He only looks for zero point 0.5 seconds. The screen hasn't even happened, and he gives up on it, and he tries to drive and go 1-on-1. Like when you're not a 1-on-1 player and you're not known for that, that's a tough decision. I wouldn't do that. And the announcers just said it. Early shot, free throw line floater. I like it. Not bad. I like how the point guards push the pace. That's what I like in my point guards. That's how the kind of point guard that I was when I got to play it. Like I'm running. If either you running with me or I'm about to run past you. That has to be a shot. You got him right here. Bam. This that's the easiest 2 points you ever seen in your life. I don't know what. I think it's just lack of awareness. He's young. It happens, but need that. And then you end up in a one-on-one difficult shot again. So notice how Kentucky keeps passing up on the easy stuff and they end up in something difficult. Um, you know, that's a problem. That's going to be a long-term problem. But again, this is like their fifth game. He's got yammed on. What happened right here? So I'm trying to figure out who's guarding. Okay, so he's guarding top of the key. So in this situation, right, if I'm Oscar, I'm sliding all the way over and I'm making him give up this ball. He's too good of a player and scorer on a college level to be able to just go 1-on-1 against people. Like we know this at this point. He's been scouted. Like you can't just let him go 1-on-1 at any player that you have. Best defender don't matter. You can't allow that. So as soon as he takes his first dribble, it should be a cutoff. This lane that he took, instead of his hand just being stuck out there, his body should be right there, and he could be ready to take a charge. And then he could have this hand ready for if he kicks it out this way, you can at least try to deflect or something. And whoever catches it out of these two guys, he can recover to them and he can take the opposite guy. So if they throw here, he can guard, he can go opposite. They throw it there, he can guard, he can go opposite. So like it doesn't really matter what happens after you stop the ball. Your teammates are going to be there to help you, and then you could just recover to the last man. But just a one-on-one for this type of guy should not be allowed. And I'm reading some comments. He thinks he's too short. I mean, a D1 player never thinks they're too short. If you're playing D1, I think you have a lot of confidence, and he probably scored a lot of points in high school. I just think I think like I was saying, the college system eats away at your creativity if you let it. And so when you're in practice and you're running these 5-on-zeros, for 30 seconds or run the offense for 30 seconds without a dribble, it eats away at your creativity because that's what these college programs do. Like I've never seen a Kentucky practice, but I can imagine that they haven't really changed a lot of things in the last 40 years. And so a lot of these programs, they do, okay, everybody gets no dribbles, run the offense until you get a layup or some goofy shit like that. And which can help, but if you do it too much and your players aren't allowed to actually play basketball, then you can see what happens to them in the game. And when the opportunities come for them to score or be creative or do something that's smart, that's outside of the robotic things that you make them do, they don't do it. So it is what it is, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. That's what I always say. So I wanted to watch that so I could see. Okay, a couple things I want to point out. He catches the ball low. That's a great stance. I'm fine with that. Now here, there's an art to relieving pressure. And the art is to go at it, don't go away from it. It's like a storm. You got to go to the eye of the storm to be safe. If you're on the outside of it, it's going to destroy you. Right? So he's getting pressured right here. The first thing you want to do is you want to rip through your space that you have. So right here, he ends up in a high stance. You have to be low in athletic stance, ready to drive. If you're up high, there's zero chance you're going to beat your defender who's pressuring you this hard. So he gets closer, right? And now from here, instead of dribbling away, what he wants to do, right, is let's say he goes into this pivot. If he rips through again, like keeps his pivot alive, but just rips through and under, the defender has to respect that, or else you're just going to beat him on the first dribble every single try. And so I think pressure likes to bait people into dribbling away, and that's always a bad option. You want to go right at it and go directly past the pressure, and then they'll have to stop pressuring you, or they're just going to get beat every time. And the same with this dribbling angle. He has a wide dribbling angle, and he should have reused the screen, obviously in my opinion, but he doesn't. And now you can notice where he's headed outside the elbows. If you drive from the top of the key, you want to make your angle inside the elbows, or else you end up stuck right here. And this is actually something uh, I was just working on with my group the other day of when they do that in the game, they get stuck out there in that position right there. I tell them how to play and not pick up the ball because most times pick up the ball, it gets ripped, or you got to pass it, or some goofy shit happens, and you don't want that. As you can keep your dribble, and in that situation, you can keep your dribble and turn it into a post up, and then you have post up options. But I would not recommend dribbling down towards the basket and picking it up and get stuck. Doesn't work. I like that pass. That's a good pass. And this is what I was saying with Kentucky earlier, right? Remember they had the double post. Oscar was in his position with the guy fronting. He was here. Now notice he comes up, drags his guy out of help. There's no one left because he got the four high, and then he just throws it over the top. It's the easiest play in basketball if you let it happen, right? And what else? I was gonna point out something else, but I can't remember. Um, Here, oh, the difference between college and the NBA. That's a shot every time, right? And then when he drives, right, he has all this side to play. This side's super crowded, but he goes to the crowded side and goes nowhere, to be honest. And so it's just a young player thing that happens. My bad, I shook the crap out of my camera. Solid screen, solid roll. What? Okay, how did this not work? So that's it. He has to come up higher. He has to get his man out of help position. So he comes up higher, but it's too late, right? And the roller's kind of slow. He should have just rolled fast, tried to beat this guy at the recovery, and make him help hard on the block, not near their elbow. Because then if they help, by the time he gets down there, then he can hit that for a shot. But it still sort of works out. He gets a post up. Now this is. I used to get frustrated at my post players when they would post up right there because it's so hard to score from that spot unless you're like Kevin Durant or Carmelo Anthony or some shit like that. I think that if you don't post up with yourself on the line, my bad, I'm reading comments. Yeah, college basketball has been a mess. Yes, it has been a mess. I can't even. It's unwatchable almost. They run these same dumb sets. This is what JJ Redick said too. He said they've been running the same plays for 60 years. Yeah. So the first team to come in with an NBA, with a real NBA offense, and give your star player the power to control the team instead of just team ball, team ball. There's a reason you have a best player. Use him. Um, And that's not a diss at team ball. Yes, team ball matters, but let your best player dominate the game. Like I don't see a problem with that. So the first Power Five team to come in and do that with a very very talented player is going to kill all these teams. And then also part of it is bad scouting. Some of these scouts that give these guys 4 and 5 stars have no idea what they're looking at. So when they get to this level, you can't even give that player the power you want. And then you end up with a Damian Lillard at Weber State or a Steph Curry at Davidson, which Steph Curry said he kind of had to be there, yes, developmental wise. But you end up with these star players at these lower programs. Duke kind of figures it out, like Pablo Banchero, great player. But yeah, don't post up in the mid post. Doesn't work. Promise you. And that is a harder shot than I just think a lot of people aren't shot ready, right? And he shouldn't have been out there. He should have been diving. That should have been that pass. That where the ball is now, he should have caught it there and just been on his way to slicing this. And then whichever one of you two, like if he helps too hard, he could just cut baseline, dump it down, dunk, or he slides because he helps too hard, kick it out, easy jump shot. So it's like, and if I was a college coach, this would be the film session we would be doing. We would sit here for 3 hours, and I would break down this film, and then we would go out and practice it. But I think a lot of things go into it. It's like how free do your players feel? Yeah, so that right there, that is what we worked on yesterday in our group. So you dribble down, you get stopped, bam, turn it into a post up. You didn't beat them off the drive, okay? Now you can post up, and you have things available. But no cutting, no screening. I don't know what anybody's doing. A lot of standing and hoping to God I get an open three like that, or a half open three. And people think the NBA is bad. There's way more off ball movement in the NBA than there is in college basketball sometimes. And that's if no teams are calling plays. But then also they only get 24 seconds in the NBA, so you gotta move. There's no standing. At the 10-minute mark, I'm cutting this film. I just wanted to do a little bit on live, just test it, see how it went. I wasn't sure how this was gonna play out, but hey, I'll probably do it tonight again. I mean, I'm not totally mad at this shot. I wish the big man would have actually set a screen. Or the guard. No, I guess he wasn't set because they couldn't. It's like a rub screen. Oh, he had his corner. He had his corner. I wonder if he can't shoot. Because he gets in right here, wide open. In the NBA, that's an open three. And I think what people got to understand, I think in a professional level, they look for if you can make a simple play, like kick that out, if he can make that decision 9 out of 10 times. It's not about the crazy play that you make, it's can you do the simple things very well all the time. And that's what I look for when I look at good players. A lot of standing. It's a good backdoor cut. How'd that happen? Let me see. Oh, he just wasn't paying attention. Yeah. If your man's in the corner, but this is just like basic high school help defense type stuff. You should never be higher. And so instead, he chased and never chased. If your man cuts, never chase, just go to the spot. So he turns around, he chases. But if he goes to the spot, he might get a deflection. But I don't. That's a good pass too. At the same time, and you got to take that foul if he jumps in the air as soon as he cuts. Yeah, he should be aware. And so, a thing that helps you on help defense, something that can really help you, is when you see where the offense is heading, right? So if I'm in help, he's not looking at my guy. So I'm gonna start sliding my way to help because in my mind I'm anticipating the fact that he's going to the opposite side of the court. So the ball is gonna end up over here. So I'm gonna have to be in help. So if he's not looking to pass toward my guy, I'm just gonna start drifting off into help. And so that's what you gotta look for and just kind of see where he's looking. Like he's just looking this way. So you want to move that way and get over into help. But he is just, I don't know what, he is too high. And he even gave himself he even looked back. That blows my mind even more, right? So he's here. He peeks. He sees him. There's no reason you should see your guy there and not drop a little bit more. Like I don't understand why he's up so high unless I mean if he's a shooter, I still wouldn't be that high. I would be there, but I would just be closer over. So either way, it's too high. And so it's easy. Like I don't right there and then when he jumps, take that. He's just undisciplined on defense. And he's gonna get ripped in film for that one. Yeah, I do see all these things when I watch it live. Probably not everything, but I see things like I can see at least two mess ups, three mess ups every possession. It's kind of easy to be honest. I've been watching basketball my whole life, so on a daily basis for 15 years, like every day watch basketball for 15 years. And so it's kind of second nature for me to see things like this. It's a good shot. Offensive rebounds to a three, can't stop it. But Kentucky's looking awful. The more I break down this film, they look horrible. But they always have a young team. I have to look at their roster. I like that shot. And I think the misconception about mid range is once you go into a dribble pull up, it feels uncontested. Like the contest doesn't really bother a good mid range shooter. The same way it doesn't bother a good 3 point shooter, it doesn't bother a good mid range shooter. Like especially when you're off the dribble, you're just going to the spot and shooting. You've done it so many times that it's nothing. Yeah, 22 is getting eaten by ball pressure. And this is something you probably scout out. You know, probably seen that. You've seen him getting killed on ball pressure. And it's hard to like apply the scouting principles player to player on a play to play basis. Like when somebody catches the ball, like, oh shit, it's number 11. He does this, this, and this. You know what I mean? Unless they're just like really good at one thing, it's kind of hard to pick up on nuances. And so that's what makes defensive players like somebody like LeBron is so special because of that. He knows everybody's tendencies at all times because he studies the game so much, and so it's like that part of the game makes him special. Now this, okay, the problem I have with this again is these players are not catching it shot ready. Like I don't I don't know why, but it's like automatically catch dribble for what reason? And it should be out of your peripheral vision. Right? He should be right here. He should be able to see. Like he should have already looked for one. Like once you're at this point and you're on the wing up here, you should know if somebody is very close to you or not. And so in this instance, you gotta know no one is near me. Like he can feel that guy going away. You should be able to feel that. So he catches it and he should be shot ready, but just one dribble and it ends up in this. And if he was gonna dribble, he might as well just took that lane. Like he took one dribble in, the guy stunned from a mile away, and he just I don't know fired it up. And Kentucky's ranked number 4 in the country. I feel like I've been pointing out a lot of Kentucky mistakes as opposed to Gonzaga's. But I think Gonzaga has a lot of veteran players, which is why. And so they're prone to make less mistakes. Why does he have a Kentucky jersey on? Two-time All-American. Gonna be All-American again. That would be funny. So the press. And so he just broke the mat. Okay, this was I used to when I coached. I think I had a seventh grade team. I think they were seventh graders, and we would get pressed. When we used to practice a press break versus our eighth grade team or our other seventh grade team, I would be so heated because people don't stay with the ball. There should be no reason we're getting pressed out of our minds, and everyone is 40 feet away from the ball. Now, if this is a man press, the only person that needs to stay near is the person that threw it in. But you don't want to be in front. You want to be at an angle where they can throw it to you. So you want to be a step behind. So if there's a line right here, if you threw it in, you want to be one step behind that line because that's the best angle to pass it. So you can catch it, dribble into some space. They got to make a decision, and now it's a 3-on-2, and those two are taken out of the play. And then the guard messed it up right by dribbling. So right here, I'm gonna wait to dribble until he's all like he has to sprint out of the way. And then if his guy leaves him in doubles, you still have your dribble alive. But he dribbled into the corner, absorbs the press. No one's coming to help. No one's coming to save him. No one's breaking to the ball. No one's breaking to the ball. He just is going across. You have to come to the ball. It makes me mad as if I'm the coach. And so notice where he threw it. Notice where this guard just threw it. He threw it where he's supposed to be. He should be already right near here. That's where he threw it. So and he broke to the ball. They just kind of got. He threw him open. Thank God. But that awful pass. So when you catch it, boom. When you catch it, don't dribble right away, and don't. Nobody should run away from the ball. He should just catch it, face up, see his options. Right. But I'm not throwing it across the court in a press against Kentucky. It's just I'm not doing that. But then the pressure gets to you. It's what happens. And then one pass shot again. Good. That's a good pass. So let's okay, press again. So now let's see if they get some principles down. One of my principles is don't dribble right away. Dribble, you messed it up. Dribble. Now they're fading away, so it worked. But if it was like attacking press, you dribble right away, you kind of kill the options. That's good patience. Just went into the gap. Have I ever thought about coaching a college team? I would coach Nebraska. That'd be the only college team I would want to coach if I was quite honest. But I would have to coach other teams to get to that level, which would annoy me. And so, do I want to do that? I'm not 100% sure. But I would want to coach Nebraska, recruit Nebraska kids, and win the national championship. That would be the dream scenario for me. And then I would quit. I would literally, I don't know, would I quit the next year? It depends who I recruit. It depends how old my original recruits are. I'd let my class maybe finish out. But if I win the Natty, or if I go to the Final Four in Nebraska, pff. But if I win the Natty with Nebraska, I'm probably quitting. To be honest, but that's the only college team I would coach. But all right, that's the end of it. I'll do some more film tonight. Appreciate all five of y'all that's in here. We out. Shut this joint